doing, guys? Welcome to this evening's version of the Football Brehz. This is a platform where we discuss, we debate, and we destroy. Now, we've got rival fans on here. We've got Liverpool. My name is Isha, LFC Brehz. Now, I've supported this team my whole life. I've got a top from 1995. I can prove it. So, I've been through Roy Hodgson. I've been through Roy Evans. I've seen virtually everything there is to see. So, I'm still here. That's what I'm going to say. I've seen some Tottenham fans that aren't still here. You know what? Because you're playing, yeah, we'll start with you. So, OS, introduce yourself, bro.
My name is the OS. I'm a Man United fan, as you can see. And I'm here basically to laugh at these Brehz. That's all I'm here to do and give them facts. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you know the talking commence later on.
He's not lying as well. That's the problem. All right, next up, we've got Kadus. Kadus, introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, so I'm Kadus. I'm a long-time Chelsea supporter, over 20 years. I'm just here just to add a bit of class, add a bit of winning perspective to some of you Brehz who don't really know how to win.
Oh, okay.
Oil money. Okay, so
don't worry, I'm just hold him back. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're kind of easing into the violence, so it's okay for now. We're all friends for now, but by the end of the episode, it's gonna be pandemonium in here, shall we say? So last but not least, it's really tough saying that when it's a Tottenham fan, but you know what? It's okay. Like we said, it's the first episode. We're not gonna go too deep with that. So Ben, introduce yourself, bro.
So yeah, I'm Ben, not the Ben, because obviously if you got a V at the start, you're a big man still. Long-time Tottenham fan. Grew up in Tottenham, pretty much, yeah, all my life. I got the old school top to remind us the last trophy we won.
But yeah, anyway.
I'm here for the banter. I'm here for the pain. Obviously, there's a lot of pain going on in Tottenham Hotspurs at the moment. We've got possibly the best stadium in England at the moment anyway. And yeah, as they say, not least, innit? So let's see what's going on.
Ben, do you know what I find funny about that statement, right? You mentioned that you got the best stadium in the Premier League. You got the best looking trophy cabinet as well. But what's in it? What's in it, bro?
I thought we were taking it lightly. So into it. Okay.
You can't get around it. Like, you got these LED lights, all this new technology, but it's just holograms, isn't it? Like, let's be real, it's holograms, bro. What's going on?
Listen. I'm just saying, yeah, this season was meant to be our season, but obviously COVID-19, everything is a bit mad, innit? But
It sounded like
obviously shit fell apart before COVID-19. But I think COVID-19 attacked our team here first, didn't it? We just didn't know it, obviously.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't notice, yeah, the topic of discussion today is what's going on in this coronavirus, man? The way it's impacting the Premier League. Like, should we avoid it? Because there's the ethical side where we say, like, it's a big risk to health, safety for the players, all the staff, all the fans as well. But if we do carry on, how do we do it? And how do we get around the obstacles financially, ethically? Like, what you guys say? Like, how do we do this? Who first of all, like, who actually wants it to carry on?
If I'll start by saying, I think for me personally, I would want to see it carry on. I think that, you know, essentially it needs to finish on paper, because there are a lot of teams that are going to be relying on that to finish financially. So I mean, if that doesn't happen, then it's going to be a big ramification. But, you know, feelings aside, I think at the same time we also have to look at it from a player's perspective, from a human perspective now. And I think one of the main things about coronavirus right now is kind of make people think a little bit differently, moving away from that mentality of making money and more of a human issue. So I think if there was a way where we could actually have it within close confinement, possibly, but then you're still having the risk of people actually leaving their homes. And even though it's 2 or 3 teams, there's still the staff, there's still the training staff that's going to come out there. So I mean, on a human element, we may have to just bite this bullet. I mean, well, if you're a Liverpool person, you have to bite this bullet. But I just think
that's a big bullet.
You know, being a supporter of Chelsea, we're good. I mean, if this is voided, we still have money to invest. We're still pretty healthy, but there's a lot of clubs right now. For example, even the Championship, Leeds, for example, are looking at need to continue this to hopefully get promoted, because they've invested a lot of money into that season. So, you know, it's more you're trying to think about it from the human aspect, but then from a business aspect, how is that going to then have any sort of long-lasting trickle-down effects? So, you know, I think that's probably where we should start off with.
Yeah, the gap, I think, from what I heard, is about 100 million in terms of what a club would lose if they're not promoted to the Premier League. So for a team like Leeds, man, that's a big implication on, if they don't get promoted, they're missing out on some life-changing money that could set them up for the next 5 seasons. Even if they got relegated, they're still cool. So yeah, from that point of view, man, financially it makes sense.
I think for me, it all starts with this whole pandemic. I think we need to not even think about the football before we resume normal life. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there's people dying in the world from this. There's people getting sick in the world from this. And for us to be stressing about when is the season coming back, of course, we love football. We're missing football right now. But we also have to be very sensitive to what's happening around us. So I think that's going to determine a lot in how we move forward. Now, I see it 2 ways. I see if we're able to finish the season off without it affecting next season, then I think we should continue. Just because I think if somehow we get to, like, let's say July, August, and we're still dealing with this pandemic and we're not able to start yet, then I think we have to void the season, because then we're allowing this virus to affect 2 seasons rather than just 1. So I think I would say if we're able to finish everything off before next season starts, we're good to go. Let's go forward with it. But if we can't, then I would say void the season.
Yeah. I've sort of, my mental status has been, like you say, people's health is first. Not even being a Spurs fan and knowing that the season is shit for us, but just in general, people's health is first. I mean, you got to think, just the players themselves, they have families, and you don't know what risks that will put their families in. And do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think if you think about it realistically, this is going to go on to at least June, July. So if you think June, July, what happens to preseason? What happens to transfer window and everything else, getting ready for the next season as well? And it's definitely going to have an impact to the next season. If we resumed either too early, then you're putting people's lives at risk. If you resume too late, then it's still going to have an impact on next season. So I think it just has to be voided. Yeah, I know there's some financial implications there, but I think just like there is implication in people's careers at the moment and jobs, if there's a way that people can support each other through this difficult time, not just individuals, but even clubs, like getting loans from banks and stuff like that, then I think we can survive it and we can move on, and, you know, we can start fresh again. So I think there is that aspect of people's health has to come first. I think there is no way to see this being okay by July and everything being all right, even for players to just play in closed doors, as you'd say. The risk is still there. So I think on that aspect, I've just been like, yo, void the thing. Start thinking about how we can start fresh for next season. Maybe look at ideas about maybe starting a transfer window early so people can start, you know, doing the transfers early. Maybe think about pre-season. Maybe you shouldn't do it. Or if you do it, maybe extend it. So because a lot of money is made from pre-season as well. So maybe that will help as well. So that's my point of view anyway. That's me not being biased as a Spurs fan. That's just me thinking about players and the clubs.
Well, touching on your point,
man.
Touching on your point of pre-season, De Bruyne came out recently and said the players need at least 3-4 weeks of pre-season before they can go again. You know, they've not been playing football for a while now. They need at least 3-4 weeks to get back into the rhythm. Otherwise, they're gonna they're gonna quickly get injured. So it's bigger than what we think. You know, it's not just them coming back straight away. So I think that I don't see how we can do it going forward without injuring a lot of players and also affecting the season that's coming next season.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
And I think as well that's unprecedented, because I think you made a very, very good point there, Milk, in terms of just how are we going to get the ball rolling again? Because if you think about it now, this is going to be the longest time that a lot of players haven't been playing football. You know, and it's not even about they have the availability of going to training facilities and getting out of the house. They are literally in their house, but they may probably get enough time to probably go for a run, a jog in the back garden. So yeah, I mean, we also have to then think about the long-lasting effects that it's going to have on people's bodies financially. I mean, Isha, I'm quite sure you're going to put your point in on what you think about this. But I've got another question which I'd like to ask after this as well, which I think would link in.
Yeah, it links in quite nicely actually, because looking at the situation, I've got like an idea around how this is moving, because obviously like the government has been slated a little bit for this, but they're proposing at the moment in the UK that they can build some kind of health certificate. So from that, people that are tested for coronavirus, if they've got some kind of immunity already to it, they can go back to work. So a lot of footballers have had it already. Managers have had it too. If you test them, because a lot of them are going into isolation anyway. So if you test a lot of these guys and they come out with normal immunity, that's a quick fire way to get football back. Another way, which I've seen kind of floating about, is they've been discussing putting the football teams into like training camps. So all of them have their own hotel, it's locked down. They don't get in contact with anybody else. So that limits any kind of potential spread. And what they do is they play all the games behind closed doors. So all the teams are separated from the public. There's no risk. All the players have had their quarantine. They're all clear. So there's no risk of infection during the games. Referees are cleared as well. And they finish the season in a like World Cup sort of style, hammer out the games in about space of a month. So that's another thing that's been floated about. So that for me is a viable way to do it. The issue with that is you've still got the problem of time lost. So if this continues up until, say, I can't see football coming back until June. I don't see April, May. I don't see it happening at all.
I agree.
With this new health bill. So if we're looking at June, right, then you're thinking, okay, maybe we should hammer out, because what is it, about 9 game weeks left. So like if we've got that many to play, right, you can do that in a tournament style in the space of about a month and do it. But then the issue of injuries comes in as well. So that also needs to be looked at. There's a lot of mechanics around it, but if you were to look at options for maybe extending preseason, one of the things that I've kind of thought about is the Carabao Cup is the lowest form of the cup in our league. It's only Premier League teams. It's the least in favour when it comes to the top teams. So if we were to look at potentially scrapping the Carabao Cup for next season, that takes out 7 game weeks, because Carabao Cup is 7 weeks of play. So that's an extra 7 game weeks we could potentially put towards the Premier League if we finish late. So how do you guys feel about something along those sort of lines if we were to look at that?
I just have one thing to say about the last point you made. But aren't those teams also making money from the Carabao Cup and relying on that?
I was about to say.
Yes, they do make some money from it.
And the other thing, and the other thing I was going to say about, you know, you're saying about the measures they could take to still play in closed doors. I think there's still a lot of grey areas with that, because there is also the fact that might upset the public a lot, because then you're looking at, okay, so we're asking medically to focus on Premier League players and getting them back to play rather than actually the whole public. Do you see what I mean? They'll feel like the resources have been taken away.
Exactly. That's a big thing.
Yeah. And I think that will cause a lot of issues, because not only are we, the public got this view of players being paid ridiculous money, but on top of that, they're being prioritized for health care. Do you know what I mean? So I think that is going to cause a lot of issues as well. That's pretty much what I could find from that, really.
But that comes back to my point where I was saying, before we even think about the football element, we have to think about just the human side.
Human element.
Where all the resources need to be given to what's happening right now in the world. So for us to, every game is going to require paramedics, is going to require, because, you know, any player can hurt themselves horribly at any time. So you're going to have that. And for us to take those resources away from what's happening right now in the world feels very, very selfish. So I that's where I kind of feel bad, to be honest. If you're a Liverpool fan, I feel bad for you. You've been waiting 30 plus years for a Premier League title, and you finally think you've got it, and then a disease comes from you. I mean, that's poetry. As a United fan, that's poetry, man. Like, it doesn't get much in regards to how a Liverpool fan would feel. But I just think we have to look at the human side of it before we can make any business decisions on football.
Just to add to that as well, I just think that the times that we're in right now is unprecedented. This hasn't, in nobody's generation, has anyone been through this kind of global pandemic on this scale. And I feel that, yeah, I'm probably just going to echo everyone's point, because I think everyone's really in agreement in terms of where we are. It's a human element first. It's a human problem first. And whilst we're here, I also just want to kind of shout, because I've got a few friends who are working in NHS right now. There's a girl called Lisa who's a nurse. She was actually working in the children's ICU, but she's volunteered to work in the adult ICUs to help deal with the pressure. She's doing 13 to 14 hours, or 14 to 14 hour days, having one break, literally just running off fumes, man. So that's just kind of just shows the amount of effort that people are going into. So I think that just that alone should really overshadow the current situation that we're in right now. So I guess for me, it's very hard as a Chelsea fan, because one side, I want football to happen. I miss watching football. I think, personally as a Chelsea fan, the club's been in the best position it's been in for a while in terms of energy. We've got young players coming through. There seems to be more of a unity coming. We're seeing a resurgence of young, good British young players coming through within the whole Prem. So it's a shame to see that kind of be put to a halt at that moment in time. But I also think that we should also now think about what can we do to help lower that curve. And if it means voiding football for a year, okay, cool. But then also let's think about how we can obviously give some sort of financial help to the club that need that.
To be honest, I feel the same. I feel the same agony as you as well, as a United fan, because right now we're in the best form probably we've been in a long time. We were picking up momentum as well, winning games. We've had our best players coming back as well. Rashford is going to be back soon. You've got Pogba coming back now as well. So it's painful that everything halts now, because it kills our momentum. And I feel Chelsea as well were on a similar path as well, and that's why the competition for top four between United and Chelsea was very interesting, because it was
starting to get good.
But at the same time, I understand the scale of this problem is huge, so we have to put our love for football aside for a second and just really think about this carefully.
Yeah. Just obviously, like the one thing I think that's going to be really horrific is the TV money that's going to be lost from it if the season was to be voided. I think it's about 750 million or something. If you think about that much money, that's a lot. So I think that's definitely going to have a massive hole. But some clubs in the top six have got the investment that they can put in there, oil money. But
I was waiting. No, it's cool. It's cool.
But do you know the thing? The thing is with football, it's always been about the people, isn't it? Like it's always been it's all about the fan base. It's all about all of that. I think you have to realize that really that's what's going to drive this, because look at the uproar that was happening this week with some of the team players refusing to take a pay cut and all of that. So if you think about that, to a point where Premier League had to decide to ask everyone to take a 30% pay cut, fair enough, some players were volunteering, but because of the uproar that fans were bringing in, that caused for a 30% cut. So if you think about it in that way, it's really to see, okay, can we still play and make some level of money without the fans, and how much of an impact would that be, and then go from there, really. But yeah, it's a shame that we ain't got no football. I'm struggling without football. I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of the time I'm like, what
that first weekend?
Yo, it's mad. And then you think about the Euros done, Champions League and Europa League has been put on hold as well. So it's a bit mad, but again, it's all about people's health. It's all about our health. If you think, put ourselves in the shoe. If you were working for any of these teams, or if you're even lucky enough to work for your team that you support, how would you feel about it? Would you still want to work if you are forced to work? So it's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. It's very hard to get around this. Like, I'm not sure how much clubs actually make from the Carabao Cup. I'm not sure if there's another way of maybe going straight into a semi-final, final, and figuring out a way around that so that we have less game weeks for that. But that's the most likely thing, because obviously they've put the European Championships back a year. So there's already a loss in TV revenue from that, because that generates millions of views worldwide, not just in European countries. So things like that are viable ways in which we can actually generate time lost. A winter break is a brand new thing to the Premier League, which started this season, we could get rid of that for next season. I know Jurgen Klopp would kill me for saying that, but we're just looking at ways in which we can make sure this season finishes. Because for me,
But
like
yeah,
the health implications are very, very high. But in terms of what it does to the pyramid of football, the way it's set up makes it very difficult not to finish the season. Like taking my Liverpool hat off for a minute. When you look at Leeds United, West Brom in the Championship, and the teams below that, the teams in the next division, the teams in the relegation fight at the minute, the chairman for West Ham came out and said, let's void the season. But that's for obvious reasons, because they're sitting in and around the relegation places. They don't want to go down. You look at Sheffield United, right? You look at Wolves at the minute. When are they ever going to get a better chance to finish in the top 4? So if you void the season now and we start again next season, they're probably not going to get a better chance to get the top 4. And the financial repercussions of that on a team like that as well, not to mention who they can actually attract in brand new talent for next season, has a huge knock-on effect for years and years and years. So although there's implications for what happens next season, for a lot of the teams involved in this, voiding this season can have ramifications for years after this. So when we get around the health situation, it's obviously very difficult to do that. Can you guys see any way in which we can continue this, or are you guys completely in favor of saying, yeah, let's void this season, let's not impact next season, and let's just figure out a way in which we can make next season as good as possible?
I think. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. I was just gonna quickly say, like, obviously my strong point is void the season, but realistically, I don't see the Premier League allowing that to happen. I don't think they will allow it to be voided completely and be non-existent. I think there would either be, like you say, what you recommended, but I think what sounds like a more realistic thing to do would be to look at the league table and look at the teams and think, okay, maybe do some sort of a playoff. Say if you're within 3 points of a team above you or below you, have a playoff, see if you can build that gap to secure your position, and then end the league as that. And in that way, Liverpool will be secure because you're 20 points ahead, so you obviously win it. And then I think that would resolve the bottom 3 situation maybe a little bit, and just say, right, guys, so bottom 3, you play it off. That sorts the bottom 3 out, and that sorts out the top 4 as well. Job well done, and then we can just say I think if you look at the table, there's clear areas where you can think, okay, 3 points, 1 game should clear that up and sort it out. But then I think the only complication you're going to have is for teams that are a game behind, because I think there's quite a lot of teams that are still on 28 games. So I don't know how that would work, but that's the way I can see it.
Sheffield United, I think, is on 28. If they win, I think they go up another place. So that would impact them as well. And what if a team's 4 points behind as well? Yeah. So there's a lot of issues, because you might get some teams that say that's a great idea, but what if a team is 4 points behind? They might have something to say about the gap being
exactly. Like, to be honest, like as a United fan, for example, like I'm confident that United can finish in the top 4. Like it's a big battle, I think, between Chelsea. I know Sheffield United are doing really well right now, and even Wolves are in there with a shout as well. But just the momentum we're building, the form that we have right now, I feel comfortable that, we could possibly finish in the top 4. So if you go by, let's say, what Ben said, and we don't end up, it doesn't benefit us, let's say, for example, then a lot of teams will feel hard done by, because they feel over the long term of the natural season, we would have made our target. But because you guys did this version, we haven't made our target. So there's always an argument, I think, for every solution that comes up, because this has never happened before. It's insane. I don't think we're going to ever find a solution where everyone's going to be happy. I think we have to find a solution that brings the majority in, that makes the majority happy. But I don't think you're going to make everyone happy.
And I think it's one of those tough ones, right? Because it's easy to kind of come up with those ideas, and as good as those ideas are, you also have to then think about the logistical problem that you may have with that. How you're going to transport, how you're going to get people to those places, how you're going to. There's going to be a lot of investment in getting all of that set up, and where we are currently right now, we're kind of speculating really, because we don't really know where we're going to be within a month, 2 months time. I mean, we're saying June. There's rumors that it could be August, September time. There's other rumors that it could be 18 months, depending on how serious people take this. So I think for me personally, again, I'm kind of sitting more in the fact that maybe it should be voided, because even if we were to start, say, in June, what's going to happen then with getting all of our players' fitness back up to actually perform a high intensity tournament game, let alone, you know, starting matches up again. So what we don't want to have is then plenty of players getting injured, and then we have more troubles for everyone moving forward. So I think really we have to kind of think about how can we gradually put people back into a place where we can start competing at a high level again. And even to get to that standpoint, it's going to take a while, even if we were to start next month, for example. So, you know, I think it's kind of moving down that route of maybe void it or maybe have those playoffs, but I can't really see it happening this year. And that's probably my hot take. I can't really see it happening this year.
For me, I kind of look at it as a Liverpool fan and as a fan of football as well. Because, like, for me, I can't see how the football pyramid can maintain itself if this season's voided. Because football 10 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, maybe if you voided it, it wouldn't have been such a big deal because the money side of it is not too prevalent. Like, football, let's not forget, is a working class game. It started off as a working class game. And when the money flooded in the 90s, it became an elitist game. So for me, when you look at it from that perspective, if you void the season, the money that is lost, and that's what everyone looks at. If you look at things, for instance, 10 years ago, the FA Cup was far more important to teams than it is now, which is a shame to say. So for me, I look at it from two kind of perspectives. Like, it's hard for me not to see the season finish, because if you don't have your top 4, your top 6, your promotion, your relegation, it's hard to have a fair outcome after this, because for teams that play 29 games, there's 27 points available. For anyone else, it's 30. So if you look at it from that perspective, right, United could finish 3rd, or they could finish 10th. Do you know what I mean? Sheffield United could finish 3rd, or even 2nd, or they could finish 11th. So there's so much variance in what could happen that it's almost impossible to say, let's just end it here, because all these teams are going to be thinking, what if we had those 9 games? We could have had the run of our lives, 9 winning streak, and we could be in the Champions League for the first time in our history. Or for, I don't know how many times Sheffield United have been in it, probably more than Tottenham, you know what I mean? So, like...
You never know when the stuff's just going to come in, bro.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man. My bad.
Nah, I hope this season ends, bro.
But to answer the question, but to answer the question, I feel like if they turn around in August and said, listen, the season can continue. If they could wrap up last season in the space of 4 weeks, I would say do it. And I'd look at the financial implications of missing 5 game weeks of Carabao Cup, because they could make that time up there. And if we go straight into a semi-final of the Carabao Cup and a final, and then say, we're really sorry this year, we're going to have a semi and a final, we're going to do a coefficient system from the last 5 or 6 seasons to see who seeds into it, then that may be a fair way, and then maybe do some sort of compensation package for anyone that's left out. Then that would compensate them for anything lost. The Carabao Cup doesn't gross that much money, so in terms of compensation, it's not going to be as high as the FA Cup or Premier League. But that would save us another 5 game weeks where we can finish this one, have a little pre-season, and then continue, and then see where it goes from there. But I feel like finishing the season is in the best interest for all the teams, because you've got a definite article of what your season was. Your financial situation, you can't complain because you've got what you deserved, whether it's relegation, promotion, top 4, whatever it is. Like, you've finished the season, you can say, nothing's got in the way of my success. Like, taking the Premier League out of it, if we were 4th, I'll say the same thing. If we were 6th, I'll say the same thing, because I feel like the football pyramid's set up in a way where there's too much to lose for teams at the bottom as well as the top. The teams at the bottom, if you get relegated, that's 100 million a season you're losing. So there's a lot to lose, do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's in the best interest of every team to finish the league. And if there's a way we can do it where it works that way and everyone's happy, I'd say do it. But if it's a situation where we can't get a medium where everyone's even remotely 60, 70% happy, then I'll say void it. And that would hurt me to a deep level.
Can I put something in your head?
Yeah.
Put something in your head. With the same mentality, would you still risk it, knowing the risk of injuries as well that can happen? Because OS was talking about players not playing for a very long time. So if you think about the risk of injuries that can happen, and those injuries will be taken towards the next season. So these players that are likely to get injured finishing this season are going to stay injured for the start of next season and have an impact on next season, because we know what does to a Premier League team with injuries. You think the likes of the
Yeah.
key players, the Salahs, the Firminos, getting injured just to finish the season?
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
realistic.
like, I mean, for me, it's not such a real big issue because our players are not like Harry Kane's where they get injured all the time. So for us, it's not that big a deal. But
There was no need for that, bro.
I'm so sorry, man.
Hold on.
Right, I'm
Let's
gonna
talk
let
Oxlade.
Tottenham.
Let's
I'm
talk
gonna let
Oxlade
Tottenham
Chamberlain. Let's talk about Oxlade Chamberlain. Let's talk about his injuries. Yeah.
Listen, we bought him and she did it. We didn't create that problem. Like he came with that baggage in it, so we're not responsible for that situation, bro.
If we're talking
Just
about
navigator, I might talk about that still, but like
yeah, the kings of that.
injuries, like injuries wise, okay. So what I suggest to get around that is the players are already on personalized training programs at home. They can all afford to get whatever they need in the house. If the players go into their individual training camps where they isolate from the public, they can start training in advance if they get, like I said, like a certificate. And the certificate they're rolling out is going to be for the whole country. It's not just going to be for football. But I wouldn't complain too much if they rolled it out for footballers first because they contribute quite a lot to the GDP of the country. And at the moment, that is decreasing so quickly that to stabilize the economy, that's a big part of it, especially with TV rights. So I wouldn't be that mad if they started with that and then rolled it down. But thinking about it, if these players went into training camps now, if they've been cleared of the coronavirus, then they can start training in advance of the games being played when the coronavirus is officially considered less of a pandemic than it is now. So that's the way around that kind of issue. If there's no way around that, then obviously that's a problem to be contended with. But for me, if they can start their training now, or maybe not now, maybe say in 4 weeks' time, they can start light training, and then 2 weeks after that, they do their full training up until the match, say 1st of July, something like that. That could then get around the problem of, okay, we're not fit. Because a lot of the players, like, if you guys had a lot of James Milners in your teams, then you'll know, like, these guys are fit all day long. But, like, it's one of them ones, isn't it? Like, for me, I feel like if they were training separated from the public, that would kind of negate that problem.
Well, we know Oxlade Chamberlain ain't training. He's too busy doing dance moves.
Yeah, like Lingard, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, Lingard knows what he knows what he needs to do, so I'll let him get it.
Don't lie to yourself, bro.
Well, Oli right now knows. Oli right now knows. He's benchling, so he knows what the real.
I tell you what, I bet you Ole thinks he can do. He can sort out Lingard the way the great Ferguson sorted out David Beckham. I bet he thinks he can do the same. Bring him
be great first for that, though.
Wait a minute, did you just put Lingard in the same? Yo, that is like a double. Yo, he knows. I was saying, you know when something goes in your ear and you kind of go in, and you have to let it marinate for.
I was hoping we could swiftly move past that. Like,
that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. That's like Yaya Toure and Kolo Toure in the same bracket, bro. You can't do that to him.
This is the one bit that we need to edit out, isn't it?
All right, guys. So obviously we've had a serious discussion, a bit of banter, talking about how we should actually continue the season. Now, Kadus, obviously you've made some really, really good points on that. Ben as well, OS. We've had some really good discussions about how we can actually either A, continue this, or B, just void the season and say, you know what, it's too much of a health risk. We need to end it there and then. So obviously we've said what we want to say. So we want you guys to have your opinion as well. Like, this platform is not just for us, it's for you as well. Mm-hmm. So please jump in the comment section. Please like this video if you do actually like the content you're seeing. Subscribe to our videos and drop your comments in the sections and let us know if you think this season should be voided or if you think we should continue with the season. And we want to hear from not just Liverpool fans, because I know all of us are going to be saying, let's do this season, innit? So we need to see a little bit from the Wolves fans, from the West Ham fans. We want to hear from all of you, because it's not just a top 6 problem. This is a UK problem. So we want to hear from all of you. Support Barcelona, Real Madrid, hear from you as well. So just to wrap this one up, obviously we discussed a lot of things today. But one thing that we want to do is a little bit of a pop quiz. And we've got a few questions lined up for you guys. So I don't know if you guys are ready for this one still, because these questions, it ranges from easy to moderately light to you may be effed up. So just letting you know right now, it's not going to be all that easy.
So you don't kill us with a question. Give us reasonable questions, not questions that.
I was going to say, I know what Isha's going to do. He's going to be like, what?
These are reasonable.
Who won the in 1865? Like, what that down, man?
It's only Liverpool, so innit?
I don't know.
Give us reasonable.
No, man, I mean, I hope you guys will know these. Like, some of these I feel like are easy. So we'll see. So like, okay. So what we're gonna do, right? We've got 10 questions. So I'm gonna deliver 2 questions to each person, and we're gonna have a bonus question that's open to everyone. And the winner is the person that's got the most right. So who wants to go first?
I can go first. Let's go.
Mad.
Well, I thought it was for everyone to answer as quickly as possible. Or is it
No,
just...
the first 2 is to OS, and then Ben, as you're talking up, you'll get the second 2.
Ah, blood.
Kadus gets the next 2, and then there's gonna be a bonus question that's open to everybody to answer, and the first one gets it. Yes.
All right,
So,
cool.
Is there a time limit?
Yeah, you got no more than 8 seconds to answer each question.
Okay.
So you got
5 seconds. 5 seconds since United are in 5th place, isn't it? Got 5 seconds, bro.
Wait, aren't they above you though?
I don't care. He's got 5 seconds, bro. What's wrong with you? It's not the point. The point is he's got less time, okay?
Sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man.
Go. I'm ready. Let's go.
You brought that on yourself. I'm just saying. All right, OS, you ready?
Yep.
Name 2 Spurs players to score more than 14 goals in a Premier League season in the last 5 years.
Kane.
Yes.
And Son.
No.
Son, by the way. Just saying that.
Am I wrong?
Oh.
Am I wrong?
You're off by 1. You're off. And you know what? It's Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Do you remember Dele Alli had that storming season? He scored 15 goals. Your main son in the 16-17 season scored 14. So you're off by 1. Off by 1. You were close.
That was good. That was a good question. Fair enough. But you can't.
Close, man.
Fair enough. All right. What's the second?
All right, question number 2. You ready, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. What is the second biggest stadium in English football by capacity?
Number 2 is Spurs.
Wrong.
Wembley.
Number 2 is the London Stadium, West Ham.
Oh, is it? Shit, it's not Wembley.
Yes.
Damn.
No, because Wembley is the international stadium. International stadium. Not Premier League.
Ah, okay. I see what you did there.
Do you know what? I'm glad I checked that because I thought it was St James's Park. And then I realised that everybody's stepped up the game since then. All right, Ben, you ready?
No. He got both wrong, so I'm all right. He got both wrong.
You're not okay. You're not okay because you got a couple of tough ones still. All right, so Ben, which Barclays Premier League team has the most yellow cards this season?
Ooh. This season?
Yes.
Can I just have the choices? West Ham. West Ham. I said West Ham.
You didn't dash out any name, innit? You died.
Is it not West Ham?
Right, do you know what's funny about this here? One of them is Arsenal. Do you know
Rah.
Do you know the other one is?
Dirty bastard.
Spurs.
Arsenal were dirty. But
There
anyway.
you go. Spurs has got 63. Spurs and Arsenal both have 63 yellow cards this season.
Nah, but wait, what about the ones that were
season?
rejected? What about the ones that didn't count, like Son's ones?
No. Those aren't in the stats, bro. It's a lot, innit? Ben.
You're gonna argue that point to the day. Ben's gonna argue that point until the day he dies, man. He's gonna argue that point. Every time that comes up, he's like, no. I didn't see it. Nah.
Okay. You ready for number 2, yeah?
No, come on, let's go.
Which Barclays Premier League team has had the least yellow cards this season?
Wow.
Fuck. Liverpool, innit?
Boom! You got it right.
Yeah.
Liverpool in 26.
I actually didn't want to say it, but I was like, it has to be.
You're just like,
Wait. Have I got more points than OS so far?
Yeah, you do.
You got 1. Well done. But you can still catch you on the bonus round, innit? So don't get
You
confident.
see that smug in my face, OS? You see that?
Right?
All right.
I'm ready. I didn't even get my glass.
Yeah? All right, so next question. At the beginning of the season, teams start the table in alphabetical order. Which teams make the top 4 this season? What was our top 4 beginning of the season?
7 seconds, remember?
Oh my days.
Maybe one. Peak. You're done.
You could have said one, bro.
You're gonna start with A, bro.
Huh?
Yep.
Arsenal, Aston Villa,
Then
Cardiff,
2 Bs.
Bournemouth, innit?
Bournemouth, and one more B.
Yep.
Hang on, no, wait a minute. You didn't structure that question properly, though.
Brighton.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, Kadus.
Death.
Unlucky, bro.
Ultimate death, bro. Man don't know his ABC.
I was expecting at least Arsenal win it. Like, at least the A in it. That's me. That's but it's okay.
Listen, that's a good question.
Right, man. I'm humble right now. It's fine, don't worry.
You got a nice second question, though, innit? You got a nice second question, bro. Who is this season's top scorer?
Aubameyang.
Bang. It's 1-1. All right. OS, you got one more question. Who has the most Premier League assists this season?
De Bruyne.
Bang. You're back in the game.
That's too easy, man. Nah, Kadus had the easiest ones, though. Let's be real. Kadus had 2 easy ones.
Some madness like Parrot.
that question was a trick question. That was a trick question.
Ben, it's funny you say that because if you get this one wrong, you might as well leave this chat right now. All right, so Ben, this is your next one, yeah? How many matches does each Premier League team play a season?
Whoa. You have to know this.
Premier League, 38.
You have to... I was getting scared for you, man. I was going to press that red button in the corner, just delete your face.
You know what? He wasn't sure about the answer, though. He said it and he was nervous for 3 seconds.
I'm not going to lie. I did a quick maths. Yeah, I did a quick maths earlier on when Isha was like, I think there's about 9 games left. I was like...
I just did. All right, say that. All right, so you're on 2 now. All right, so okay, you ready, yeah? This is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. So, which Premier League team has conceded the least goals this season?
Oh, that's easy again.
Would it be Paul?
What's your answer?
He gave your answer, Liverpool. You already gave your answer.
What's your answer? Liverpool. Is that your answer?
Yeah, that was his answer.
Yeah?
He's done it.
You got it.
Paul.
Liverpool. Yep, Liverpool. 21 goals conceded.
Oh, yes, let me agree. His questions were easy.
I was comparing them to Chelsea's form in 2004.
Okay, we'll come back to that. That's not the subject matter, but it's okay. It's cool. Man, I thought that. Heartburn, heartburn. Mad.
Hey,
but we've got any Kadus squad.
Paul might not win a cup, bro. Paul might not win a cup. I don't think people understand right now.
I'm gonna get the same. That's not okay.
I'm just saying, someone will need to go to Isha's house.
And I
take
said
his
that
heart rate.
the smile of the book's face slowly just got bigger, like this, like.
Man.
Who don't win this title? Oh my God. Anyway,
all right. So we got a bonus question in it. Now, if OS gets this one, there's going to be a bonus question to decide the winner in it. So no pressure.
What?
The nearest answer to this wins. Because you got 2 men.
Wait, shouldn't that be between me and Kadus?
No. It doesn't work like that, bro. You
I got 2.
Relax. Exactly. So relax. If OS gets this one, yeah, then it's 2-2-2. There's another question to find the winner in it. So, which Premier League team has conceded the 3rd least goals?
Manchester United.
Wolverhampton.
Manchester United. That's all of us now.
Hi, Ben. All right, so this is a 2-horse race now.
What?
Sorry, Ben.
I think
exposed, bro. You got exposed.
Oh, wait, I think I deserve a lifeline too, man. This can get a lifeline, yeah. I need one too, bro. Someone revive me, innit? Someone revive me. God, revive me.
Yo, this ain't Call of Duty, bro, man. I'm sorry, man. You had the ray gun, bro. This whole time you had the ray gun. You messed up. So
that's cool. That's cool.
All right. Last question, yeah?
Right.
Who's got the 2nd most assists in the Premier League this season?
This season?
2nd most assists. Uh-huh.
Oh, I know this one. Damn.
Mane.
Money to
Oh, come on, man.
Oh yeah, with the pinky finger. Why would that?
how we lose Isha.
Moderator's gone.
He's frozen right now.
I have one more question. We'll settle this. Forget Isha. I'm taking
There we
over.
go.
His
All right.
internet died. But I was about to dethrone you real quick.
I got it covered, didn't it? I had like 10 bonus questions prepared, man. You lot just keep getting them, so I'm just like, this is long. All right.
Isha.
Gone. Look at Orison's face.
Well, guys, thanks for the first episode of Football Brehz. It's been nice.
Name the top 3 all-time appearance on the Premier League.
Yep.
Premier League.
Yep.
Name 3, top 3,
All-time appearance.
or one name that's in the top 3.
Ryan
One
Giggs.
name that you think is in the top
Ryan
3,
Giggs.
definitely.
And he says Alan Shearer,
Huh?
right? Ryan Giggs, he says
Ryan
Alan.
Giggs. All right, OS, you've got it. Ryan Giggs. Top 3 is Gareth Barry, Ryan Giggs, and
How is
Lampard.
that? Why the fuck hell did I not think about that one? What the hell, man? Anyway, yeah.
Ah!
Congrats.
I see how OS got a lifeline and he won this.
Look,
Oh,
I'm back.
he's connected.
I'm back. See you later.
We're done, bruv. Bye.
Well, guys, that was the first episode of the Football Brehz.
Isha, I won, bro.
I'm stressed. I don't even know what the question was.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
All right, guys. So that was the first episode of Football Brehz Online. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any opinions on what we said today, we covered a lot of information. Tune in, smash that like button, like our video, and please subscribe to us as well because it's a brand new platform. We've got a bunch of fans from different platforms that want to come together and discuss things. We're going to banter, we're going to attack each other. It's the nature of football. We've got United here, we've got Chelsea here, we've got Tottenham and Liverpool. If you want to see Arsenal on here, if you want to see Man City on here, we can't find any of those fans, but we'll try anyway. But if you want to see West Ham, Crystal Palace, let us know. We'll do our best to get those fans on the channel as well. We can have discussions and just see what we can do with this. So thank you guys for tuning in again. Leave your comments in the comment section if you want to talk about what we've discussed today. Do you guys feel that the season should be voided? If you've got a better idea of how we can continue the season, please let us know as well. And we'll reply to all your comments as well. So Kadus, OS, Ben, thank you guys as well. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.